Mr. Chad Shingleton, good evening. Happy
Hey,
Monday,
buddy.
man.
Hey, how are
Welcome,
you?
welcome back to another Monday Night Live. Fresh from Thanksgiving break, man. How was your couple days off?
Man, it was nice. It was nice. It was nice to be. We went to Moorhead and hung out with Michelle's family, Atlantic Beach, and man, Thanksgiving was great. It was something about it this year. It was just, it's always special, but just something about it this year. Might have been my attitude, but it was sure enough special. It's a good time, man.
That's good, man. That's
How about
what it's
you?
all about. Being with
Yeah.
family. Yeah, just hung out with the in-laws and kept it pretty low key, and it was a nice day off and back to the grind on Friday, but
Oh
it was
yeah,
good. Good couple days with the family. So
it was for
you
sure.
did some traveling too right before, man. Where'd you go?
Well, my little man conned me into a Kansas trip. So, as you know, Carson, the old great outdoorsman there, and yeah, we went out toward Hepler, Kansas, on a deer hunt, bow hunt, and Carson shot, and he shot a 175-inch buck out there with his bow, and in 16 yards. So that's pretty cool. Just that's just pretty cool in itself, you know.
That one?
That one, that's it, man. That is it, man. I don't sit with him anymore like I used to, and now I get a phone call, and I see he called me. Obviously 30 minutes before the end of the shooting light, and one or two things has happened. He's either fell out the stand or he shot a deer. So I'm hoping for the latter there. And man, that's such an exciting. I mean, it's just like catching a. I mean, like if you guys, just big fish on a big tournament day, you're just jacked up, and he's calling me, just fired up, and it don't get any better than that.
That's awesome. That's you sent me that picture the other night. I was tickled, man. That's fantastic. Great job, Carson. That,
Yeah,
that's a heck of a deer.
that's a heck of a photographer too, man. I'm gonna tell you, I did really good on that one. I
Yeah,
did good. I mean, yeah,
you
I
did. You
can
got
make
the
some.
windmill in the background and everything.
I,
That's
I got
awesome.
the moon, the windmill, the sunset. I mean, well, gosh,
you you might get hired at the tournament, take over Jay's spot to take a picture.
yeah. There you go. There you go.
Oh, awesome, man. Well, that's fantastic. Um, man, we had there wasn't a ton going on fishing wise. SK Nationals
Yep,
happened down in Florida. Those guys, man, they got lucky with some amazing weather.
they sure did.
Talked to a couple guys down there, and 1 foot seas for a week long straight, and plenty of bait, and a decent amount of good fish, and even more big sharks is seemed to be the story of the tournament. But um, kudos to Rob Lapolo, a good friend of mine. Man, I've known Robbie for years when we were both fishing 23 Hydro Sports back in the day at the Beau Rivage in Biloxi.
Oh yeah.
He's fishing the 33 Onslow Bay now, so they won the Open Class Championship with his wife Kelly, and um, Rob. Those guys won. I think it was 2011, if I'm not mistaken. They won the small boat class in the 27 Onslow.
Man,
So
another Onslow. I mean,
yeah,
yeah,
that's. But yeah, I couldn't be happier for those guys, man. Robbie's just a great dude. We keep in contact here and there. So and looks like current situation won the small boat class.
hmm
Um, Forgive me, I don't recall where those guys fish out of, but they had a 74-pound aggregate, I believe. So pretty good couple of fish days. So
yeah,
um,
yeah. They definitely had some pretty weather. Gosh, man, that's three-quarters of the battle, isn't it?
yeah,
Don't that isn't a welcome to North Carolina weather. I tell you right now.
no, not that time of year, man.
No, I
They got
swear. Good
it
for
was
Jay. Good for the SK. And their whole staff. I mean, that makes a lot of difference. With the weather and stuff. Gosh.
well after Biloxi last year, man. They got kind of beat up a little bit, because of the weather and participation and things. And I think going to Florida was definitely the right call. I don't know that they got the increased participation they were hoping for, but certainly good weather, and hopefully can continue to grow it next year if they
Absolutely.
keep working at it.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
well, let's talk about tonight, man. We got an awesome guest,
Oh
a
yeah.
great family. Um, you know, um, uh, Not unfamiliar to a lot of teams here. He's been fishing your series since, I believe, since the inception, right?
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Um,
He was a part of the board until it just got busy with work and things and stuff like that. Kind of took him away, but he was a part of the board and making, helping us get this thing going and stuff. So yeah, Ethan's been around for a little bit, and just watching him grow, you see him, it's amazing,
Well, without further ado, let's introduce future captain Waverly Parker
Oh yeah.
and her dad
Say
Ethan.
hello. Hey, how's it going?
Hey guys,
Yep. How are y'all doing this evening?
doing wonderful, man.
Good,
How are you
buddy.
guys?
Yeah, doing great. Can't complain.
So, man, Ethan, you guys are you had an amazing 2025. But God, you guys have been crushing it for a long time. Chad and I were just talking. Uh, fishing the shootout since the inception. You guys are top 15 career money earners since then. Number one team in the power rankings for the last 3 years. This year was second place in the North Division, top 20 in the South. You obviously you fish with Waverly, your wife Julie, your dad Cliff, and a couple of buddies. Waverly won the Anglers Envy Cup this year, which I think may or may not make an appearance. There it is.
Oh, there it is.
Heck yeah,
there it is.
That's awesome. Julie was the top lady in the North this year and fifth place in the South. So I think she's going to be going to spend some money over there at Perry's Emporium. With the gift cards they won. So, man, you guys, you had a great 2025. I guess let's bring it back to the beginning, man. How'd you get into this game, and what got you started here?
Yeah, so when I graduated high school, me and my dad, the most we had ever really done fishing wise was trolling for Spanish and bluefish and maybe some pompano here and there in the surf. And we had an 18-foot bayliner we used to take, a mile or two offshore. And it's what I learned to drive on. I wasn't much older than Waverly when he would put me at the wheel and he'd be in the back trying to get up on a slalom ski. And he was brave to let me drive then. I don't know if he's any better now. But we would take that thing out Bogue Inlet, in the late 90s. And most of the people on here probably know me, but there's two speeds. There's barely in gear, trying to keep live baits going and wide open. And there was no difference back then when we'd run out the inlet. We were wide open. There was multiple days we'd come back in holding the windshield, keeping it on the boat with our hands. But that and my dad's been with us fishing, just there the whole time. And we really started tournament fishing in 2007. The Atlantic Beach tournament was our very first tournament I ever fished. And we were fishing a 20-foot Sequest at the time. And I'll never forget going out Bogue Inlet after checking out that morning. One of the waves went slap over the T-top. And I had my two cousins, John and Joe, on the boat with me. We had a box full of ballyhoo and cigar minnows. We didn't even know how to throw cast nets back then. And come a long way in just a few years, and fast forward fishing with a few different teams and just learning. And now we're able to have Waverly on the boat with us just about every tournament, and my wife Julie. So we're really fortunate to be able to make this a family deal.
Yeah, that's to me, with you guys, that's the biggest thing that I always smile about, because it's always you guys together. We've fished near you guys in the inlet one tournament this year, and seeing Waverly on the boat, and she's grinding out just like everybody else. So that's awesome.
Yeah, so, super fortunate. Yeah.
And speaking of a family affair, I don't mean to cut you off, but we got somebody who probably is going to want to tell some stories about you here. So let me bring this guy in.
Yeah, I can probably tell a few stories.
Hey, there he is.
Santa Claus.
Look who's on here.
Santa Claus is back. Yep, that's true. I could probably tell a few stories. He told some of them back when we first started fishing that old bayliner, and I'd have him. He used to drive for me because I was too old to drive even back then. And so he was. I think Athan started driving a boat, Chad and John, when he was 3.5 years old. And I'll tell you a really funny story. We used to be at Island Harbor Marina, and all the boys would sit down there and sit on the dock and drink beer and watch us. And all them older men would come up there and try 15 times to load a boat. And Athan would pull up the first time, pull it around the trailer. And all them old men would say, why don't you let that little boy load your trailer? And so, yeah, been driving a boat a while. I guess people now look at him driving a boat. Well, I guess, what are we on now? 38 Freeman? We switch so often, we don't even know what we're on.
I reckon so.
That's a problem.
Freeman, and we come through the inlet, and everybody says, look at that guy driving the boat. And I said, well, he's, what, 37 years old? Well, he's got 34 years experience. He ought to know how to drive a boat. Started 3.5 years. And that's what we're trying to do with Waverly. We're going to do the same thing. We want to, the best way to learn is when you're young. You can pick up, like you said, we fished Spanish mackerel, and one little thing he didn't talk about, we used to do a little king mackerel fishing with ballyhoo, and we didn't know how to throw a cast net, and I still ain't no good at throwing a cast net. That's the reason I had to train Athan, because I ain't no good at it. And but we were out fishing one day, and we had 2 friends from Raleigh, the Raleigh area around Clayton, and we've been out fishing, and we caught probably about a biggest king mackerel we'd ever seen in our life, probably about 30 pounds. And we threw him in the boat. And Athan said, I ain't never seen a king mackerel bleed like that. And after a few minutes, he looked down and he said, that ain't a king mackerel, it's your toe.
Oh,
The king
jeez.
mackerel, we had threw him in the back of that Sequest Athan was talking about it, and he cut my toe in half.
Oh.
Literally, totally in half. So Athan said, this ain't going to ruin my day of fishing. He looked at my buddy and said, can you take him to the urgent care? So my buddy took me to the urgent care. I got my foot sewed up like, I don't know, like 30 or 40 stitches.
But he was
Sewed
a first
my toe up.
responder now, so he knew what he was doing.
Yeah, my buddy was the first responder.
So he was
thank
qualified.
goodness.
Okay.
And we had a qualified first aid kit. It's called an old T-shirt.
Yeah.
And so we wrapped the old T-shirt around it and took me back and took me out. But here's the funny part about it. We went down, got the foot sewed up. I called Athan back on the radio. We didn't have no cell phones back then. Called him back and said, come back up, because I wanted to fish the rest of the day. So we got back on the boat. We fished the rest of the day. We never, just because the toe gets cut in half, that ain't no big deal. You know, go ahead and fish. Yeah, we've been through a lot of boats from contenders to we fished on Benson Abanias for years. You know Benson, Chad.
Oh, yeah.
Good friend of ours. I mean, we fished with him for years on
Open Wide.
Yep.
Had some of the best times of our life on there. I still love Benson, a great guy. And then we fished with Phil Croom on Money Grows on Trees, Mako, and then we fished on another one for a while called Lot of Luck. I don't know if y'all remember him way back, Jeremy Johnson from over in. And then I remember the day Julie was in law school, and Athan had to move and work that dreaded job in that high rise in Raleigh for a few years. And we were sitting around and we said, why don't we start our own team? So we sat down and came up with names. We got a piece of paper and we started writing names down. Now, I was in the risk management business, and Athan was in the engineering, and Julie was going to be an attorney. So we said, what do we all do? We manage risk. And we said, what would be a cool name? So we come up with a whole list of names. I still got them. They're pretty cool. And we come up with Xcessive Risk, and people ask us that all the time. How did you come up with that? We said, number one, I can't spell, so we spelled it X. Xcessive Risk, and it's been a hit. Now people all over the country want our. I often started talking about selling our XR because everybody wants our hats and shirts now for the design. And it's just been a great run, Chad. You couldn't ask for any more. And then along come Waverly. We thought everything was great, but then when Waverly come, that was it. That was what you call a cat's meow. You know, I mean, now that completed the circle. You know, we had Julie fishing with us, and Athan. I had my whole family, and then along come Waverly, and now it's like it don't get no better than this. You know what I mean?
I lost my job as babysitter.
Well, Mr. Cliff, I know. Tell me about that lady back there behind you right quick. Now, ain't that somebody special? I get to see at the weigh-ins every day, waiting on that XR team. No matter what happens, she's sitting there waiting on that XR team to get back.
Yeah, she's always waiting for us to come back, and most times she brings me something to help my thirst out a little bit. You know what I mean? And, usually it's a Diet Coke or a Sun Drop. You know what I mean? But yeah, she's always been very, very supportive of our team because around Emerald Isle, they call her a fishing widow because she's out with everybody else. They say, "Where's Cliff at?" And they quit even asking. They know where I'm at. Occasionally, I had to take off a few fishing trips and go on a cruise, but they ain't nothing better on earth than fishing with your family. You don't get no better than that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You know that, Chad. You're right in
Amen.
ball with your son. It don't get no better than that. You know,
Nothing.
Sleepy.
nope.
Yes.
Other
What it's
than
all
being able
about.
to, other than being able to share in these moments with these kids and families and stuff like that, that's the next best thing in all of it.
Yep, I
Yeah,
agree
absolutely.
100%. And we were just saying, if we can just let Waverly win about 5 more of those junior anglers, we might be able to put her at NC State. You know what I mean?
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Go Pack.
Yeah.
Go
It
Pack.
won't be long before that's happening, I'm sure.
Overnight.
Yep.
That's right. That's right.
So, well, Cliff, man, thanks so much for jumping in with us. We really appreciate it, and did love the stories. Glad your toe's intact and you were able to keep fishing that day.
Yep. Still got my toe. Still got my toe. It hurts a little bit now. It's got what you call that stuff, gout. I call it the gout, but I bet it's arthritis from a king mackerel bite. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It don't stop me
Well,
from fishing. Don't worry about it.
that's right. Well,
Awesome.
Mr.
Well, we look
Cliff,
forward
guys,
to seeing you guys again soon, and we'll talk to you. Thanks so
Good
much.
guys. Thank you very
thank you
much.
guys.
Bye.
See ya. Bye bye.
All
That's
right.
good stuff, John. Good going.
I appreciate the assist there, man.
Oh yeah, we had to get
Oh.
Mr. Cliff on here.
Listen,
Absolutely.
dads always tell the best stories, no doubt
Yeah,
about
no doubt. They pull up some of the stuff that is buried deep down.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. But Cliff, real quick too. Cliff got us hooked up with the guys at Little Licking Sauce this year, who I'd love to bring on here one night. They have the sauce so good it makes you want to lick the lid, and they cooked a lot of our meals this year for us, and those guys did great. They have a great cause that they support and stuff with special needs and things like that. So Cliff had a friend that was retired that's in the barbecue sauce, the sauce making business, and Cliff made that connection for us this year, and it's been phenomenal. They have an awesome product, but what they did for the shootout this year in the classic was great.
Yeah, I remember the dinner they cooked for us that one night. Was awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, they're fantastic people. They're great. I grew up with their son and daughter, and just fantastic people for sure.
You got Julie. You got Julie over there in the corner working.
Yeah, something like that. She's over here babysitting the new addition to the family.
Oh my goodness!
Little puppy.
We got all the Parkers tonight.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's good.
So what, man, Athan, you've had a lot of really, amazing memories, I'm sure, on the water. Some awesome finishes. What are a couple that stick out, or what are a couple of stories that just stick out in your mind over the years you've been doing this?
Oh man, we'll be here all night.
We got time.
One of the coolest stories, I think. Andy Hinton and Al Morris might not think it's so cool, but we were fortunate a couple years ago to do well in the Atlantic Beach tournament, and at the beginning of the year, we're putting Waverly to bed, so say good night,
Waverly.
Good night, Waverly.
But so the Atlantic Beach tournament comes around every year, and it's plus or minus a month, and we're all jacked up and amped up. We're wanting to fish every day in October because the fishing's going to be fantastic, and we're this and we're that, and we'll people that know our team, we'd like to burn a lot of gas for whatever reason every day we can. So it seems like more days than not we're out of bounds for the AB tournament, and it's just the way it works out. Well, really good. He's become a really good friend of mine and fantastic fisherman. Bennett Brantley, that runs Southern Sport Fishing out of Carolina Beach, was on the boat with me, and I believe it was his first year, or he wasn't very far into it fishing with me, and just the two of us. We got a late start from I believe a long Thursday night prior to, and we caught bait without problem. Ran out Drum Inlet and went to 4 Mile, where Andy and Al had been sitting pretty much the entire run of the tournament, and we set out, and 10 minutes later, big bite, line goes off, and Bennett grabs the rod, and I'm messing with rods and clearing and talking on the radio to our good friends, the Windy Conditions boat. It was up the beach a little bit. They were out of bounds. And, Bennett, real calm, nonchalantly, about 2 minutes into the fight, looks back at me and he said, "Hey, man, you want to come kill this thing, or what are we doing with this fish?" And I was like, "Was it big?" And he's like, "I mean, it's not bad. It's a pretty good fish, probably the biggest one I've ever seen." And I look over and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's a giant." And it's, 58, 59 inches long, sitting just laid up as pretty as it could be. I had to fumble underneath the gunnel and get the gaff out, get it all ready. It's just sitting there. And I know he's fished a very long time at a high level. And I know he was just tapping his foot like, "Dude, what are you doing? Let's get our stuff together." Reach out and stick it, put it in the boat. And, we started to set back out. And then I looked at him and I was like, "Hey, man, we hadn't been out of bounds." And he looked at me with a confused look. "What do you mean out of bounds?" He didn't really have any clue that we were actually fishing in the AB tournament. Well, not much longer after we realized what we had just done, Andy Hinton got on the radio and gave "Well, thanks, bud. I really appreciate, coming into our spot here." And that was a cool, something that you dream about doing that you never have the opportunity to do. Just fish for 30 seconds essentially and catch a mid-50s and are fortunate enough to win a tournament. And, that was a fun memory. I would say one of my fondest memories is the date that our good friends, the Windy Conditions boat, Henry Tillett and Chip Nifong, really good friends of mine, their sons fished with them, Gage and Cooper and Alec Webster, and of course Miss Wendy Tillett. They were fortunate enough to win the Meat Mayhem Morehead City. I believe it was 2021 or 22, somewhere in there, the same day that we won. And I believe Henry might have mentioned that same day when he was Facebook Live, a couple weeks or a month ago or so. And it's very few and far in between that. You're always happy for your friends to do good, but when you can both, be at the top of your tournament on the same day and basically your best friends in the world, it couldn't get any better. And my wife, Julie, wasn't fishing that year because we had just had Waverly, and Waverly was there at the weigh-in, and we had a good time. It was a pretty memorable moment for our fishing team.
Yeah, I remember you guys did that. That was awesome to watch you guys celebrate. And I know it was definitely a late start the next morning for you guys after that one.
Absolutely, yeah, it was definitely a late start. But we've had so many good times, and so many bad times where they turn out good. You go out there and you catch a bunch of fish like for the championship, and we were frustrated. We never got a bite this year that would be a meaningful fish, but we had a blast. The Wavy was on the boat, our teammates, Bennett and Justin Simmons. I couldn't ask for a better team, to be honest with you, because we take it as serious as anybody. I mean, our prep work starts usually the Thursday the week before the tournament and goes through the weekend, and all week we're doing something, whether it's going to catch bluefish out of a bait pen next door to us, or going to do it on our own. But we spend a lot of time doing it, and we got a great team. So when it starts boiling down to best memories, I don't know, all of them. I mean, it's just you had to pinch yourself sometimes that the country we live in and God's grace and the military that protects our waters, that we can do the things we do. It's just I would want to be in any other situation. It's fantastic, the opportunities that not just the Xcessive Risk, but every boat that's in this series and every boat that fishes, period. It's just a good time to be on the water at all times, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Chad, what you got, man?
No, I was just, definitely. What have you seen? I know your network is awesome. That's a big part of it. But when you said you spend time on the water, you spend time on the water. Mike Williams, I was talking to Mike Williams, and he was like, you were up off of, I don't know, what was it, 10 foot? And you were out there at the smell wreck 2 or 3 weeks ago before the championship. Whatever. This dude's pre-fishing out there now. There ain't 1 in 60 that would have probably been out there. And that's the guy right here on the screen with us. But I mean, is that what you see? He's paid the difference for you, just being on the water and being, in finishing in the top, networking?
Yeah, I think, like what my dad was saying, 2014, we started our team. And, I'll be honest, Mike Williams was a role model of mine when I was growing up. I'd see the release boat, all the time. And being fortunate enough to be a board member of the Cape Series really helped me network with, not Chad. I didn't even know you. I mean, I knew you, right, but I didn't know you then. Right. Didn't know David. Mike Edwards at the time was there. I didn't know Mike from Adam.
Right.
I knew Mike Williams, but Mike didn't know me. So, it afforded me the opportunity to get in front of a bunch of guys that I looked up to very quietly. Us guys don't really like to talk about those things a lot of times, but, and there's one thing that, I noticed that I picked up on real quick is the teams that consistently do well. And by my opinion of doing well, it's not necessarily that you win a tournament or, you win a bunch of money in a year, because it's not really, to me, it's not about money. It's about consistency over, a time period, and, consistent from the beginning of the Cape Shootout. The release team was in the top 3, if not leading the power rankings for years. And what it boiled down to was time on the water. Of course, there's some commercial guys that tournament fish, and, they spend time on the water, and they pick up on things that, a guy that rolls his helmet out on Friday afternoon and puts the boat in the water and goes gets gas, they might not necessarily know to even think about certain situations that, if you're on the water 4 or 5 days prior to a tournament, you pick up on small innuendos of what's happening, and, what direction and what bait marks are producing. And, like you were saying, that we did it actually twice before the Swansboro Rotary Club tournament and the Shootout. We had some really tough weather. We really weren't able to pre-fish. We were staying at our houses in Ocracoke, Henry and I were, and we were having a good time as always. And I looked at my guys and I said, "Hey man, we're gonna go fishing tomorrow." And they looked at me like they're going crazy. They're like, "Athan, it's blowing 35," and I'm like, "Yeah, but it's overcast tomorrow." And they were like, "What does that have to do with anything?" You're not getting a temperature shot. You're not getting any chlorophyll. You're not getting any ideas of what the water actually is unless you go. And that's been my entire existence. I'm not the best fisherman. I'll tell you flat out, I'm not. There, I can name 10 that are 100 times better than myself. Mike, Austin, Eubank. I mean, you just go on down the line. They're just fantastic fishermen. They've been here twice as long as I have. And it relates to, back when I played a lot of sports, and Super Bowl winning football teams don't just come out on Sundays and win games. They work year round, and, you put in the effort. It's not a direct correlation in fishing, because you do have to have a little lucky bite. There are things you cannot control no matter how hard you try to do it. It's just, if you try to put yourself in the best circumstance, you have the best network, you work with guys, and the main thing is you just don't lie to anybody. That's a big thing. Even telling a little white lie sometimes, if it's inside your network, it doesn't work. It'll always come back to haunt you. But I think time on the water is the most important thing to me when it comes to tournament fishing and prep.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I understand that 100%. Yeah, but I appreciate you always shooting us straight. That's for sure. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I've told everybody.
We owe you a couple. We probably owe you a few fish.
Well, I tell you flat out. Somebody asked me a question before a tournament, and we do put in a lot of work. And I joke with them. I'm like, "Hey man, you want to come up with some gas money?" But I'm not gonna lie to anybody. I'm just gonna say, hey, I respectfully decline to even answer. If you see our boats, I probably wouldn't run past if we've been fishing for a week. This year it didn't really seem to matter. It just weren't able to ever find some good water, and the wind blew gale out of the northeast and turn around and scream out of the southwest, and then back and forth. It didn't work out. But my team, my guys, like I said, Bennett, Justin, man, I don't know who's crazier, them or me.
There you go.
What they go through with me and the mess they put up with. It's a trip.
Right. No, that's great, man. That's good. I mean, I'm glad you're part of the series, of course, as always, and been a big help to all of it and just keeping it going. And now with Wavy and Julie and your dad, and then your mom's a part of the team, of course. She may not be on the boat fishing day, but she's there talking to the girls at the trailer. Always get me a hug. I mean, those things are just, man, those things are just special. I
agree 100%. And it's special also because of the fact that the team, the camaraderie and the family, that what the Cape Lookout Shootout stands for. And, I like to travel and fish because it's new waters. It's not saying fishing in North Carolina is easy. Good Lord, I would not say that at all. But, fishing outside our waters is extremely difficult. It's a new network. You just don't, bait's hard. Everything's different. And, like what Mike's doing down at the Fort Pierce Invitational, I wouldn't say they're copying us in the Cape Shootout, but they're looking up to, our tournament, the Morehead City Open and the Swansburg were leaders, the forefront leaders of what the new world king mackerel tournament fishing is. And what you guys do, I'm very proud to say I was a part of the board, at the beginning. And like you said, got busy with family and work, and that's not taking away that y'all weren't busy. I greatly appreciate what you do, because without y'all, this doesn't happen. And my mom can't be on the dock watching us weigh in and, share special moments with you and the ladies behind the scenes. And it's so special to hear, we travel to say, hey, you guys fish the Cape Shootout. Those guys know what they're doing. That's kind of the role model for the elite tournament series in today's world. It makes you feel good and special that, we're a part of something like that.
Oh yeah. And the 5-0 crowd started it, high entry, high payout, and they just showed that it could happen. And, just kind of just took a spoke from them, took a spoke from the FLW days, took a spoke from here, and just kind of made our own wheel. And here we go,
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, just like if it wasn't for my crowd, my woman upstairs here, I wouldn't sure have the opportunities to do what we do. But, just like when Waverly, we got Waverly to call out Pop and his mama, when they did the awards and stuff like that, man, that's just, buddy, I always joke about when we have a crappy day, I got to come smile with all you buttholes and shake your hand.
That makes it all better.
It makes it all worth it, man. It makes it all worth it. But I would like real quick, John, if you don't mind, to Athan, I know you're in engineering.
We got a quick question before we jump in there. Right. Windy Conditions says, ask him about his pintails.
Oh man. So one of the fishing team members from the Windy Conditions, Chip Knifeong's a good friend of mine, and we've become close. And his daughter was interning for my engineering firm, and I'm very lucky that she's going to come to work for me in May when she graduates from the civil engineering department at NC State University. And so we've become close, not just that reason, but just fishing with Henry and Wendy and being around their group for a while. We got close with them, and then Maisie's boyfriend, Bennett, and his father, Ed, we've been a supporter of the Ducks Unlimited banquet, the Ducks Unlimited, whatever you call their organization, for a few years now, because Maisie's highly active in that organization at NC State. Well, we've been inviting her boyfriend's father to come sit at our table because my engineering firm sponsors. Well, he paid it back this past weekend, and I'm very, I'm a greenhorn when it comes to hunting. I am very new to it. So, and I'm excited about it. It brings back that passion from the 2007 days with the Sequest, laying it on the dash and tearing the boat all to pieces. It's something new. And he invited me to go to the mecca of duck hunting this past weekend up Lake Mattamuskeet at their club. And they put us on a hunt Saturday morning. I personally would correlate it to, Biloxi when it was at its peak, or Cape Hatteras when, you're seeing 15th place be 51 pounds. There was ducks flying everywhere. It was incredible. Well, I just happened to get really lucky. And Bennett, Maisie's boyfriend, said, "Hey, there's a Drake pintail coming in off to the right." And Chip raised up to shoot it, and he pulled his gun down and let me shoot it. And so one of the first probably handful of ducks I've ever killed, it ended up being a Drake pintail, and a very nice one too. So yes, that's
no doubt, Carson, no doubt.
And Henry, I'm gonna knock on him a little bit, but he's gonna get him one in January. He's been hunting a long time for duck, and it's just not been lucky that he's had a Drake fly into the zone, and very, very fortunate. And that's got lucky. Basically, my first duck hunt.
I love it. I love them duck. Carson loves them ducks too, bud. Yeah. I shoot a lot of shells. I enjoy it. I'm more of a just like the shoot kind of guy. Maybe want to fall every now and then.
Maybe. Yeah. We get to hunting, and Chip's dog, Goose, fantastic yellow lab. If you shoot a whole lot and you don't have a lot raining down, falling down from the sky, he'll turn around and get mad at you. So
look at you.
Careful with that firing off stuff.
Oh, that's great, man. But hey, talking about AMP, your firm, you've been sponsoring the Shootout. I mean, for forever, as far as I know, and whether you've been doing the lady angler or the junior angler or the senior angler, but what do you do? I know Carson had spoke to you, which I super appreciate. Carson's looking to go in the engineering field, and Carson called Athan, and Athan's like, well, look, do the X, Y, and Z, and without this platform that we have, he wouldn't have had that phone call. But AMP, we really appreciate what you're doing there, but you do everything, right? I mean,
yeah. So this goes right back to the network. So in 2014, as my dad was speaking, Julie was going to law school at NC Central in Raleigh, and I went to work for Kimley Horn, a big engineering firm. I believe they're based out of Cary. A very good friend of mine that I went to high school with, her father was a pretty well-to-do engineer there. Got me a position, and I found out very quickly that corporate life wasn't for me. When I had a tournament on Saturday and I'd leave at 1:00 on a Friday, and they would frown upon that, and I understand, work is work. But so I ran up with Ned Grady, who owns the Hot Grits team, and we became very good friends. There's a great picture of all of us in Biloxi. I believe it was 2012-ish timeline, and we became really good friends. And he was like, "Hey, man, I know it's not really what you do. Why don't you come work for me?" So I helped him project manage residential additions and upfits, just new kitchen projects and things. And all the while I was getting my last year of experience to be able to sit for the PE exam.
Wow.
And so I passed the exam and decided to start my own business on the side that kind of helped his remodel business. That, you're always remodeling. Oh, we want to put a beam here, open up this wall, like HGTV. You think they can just do it? Well, you got to have an engineer, and most engineers you call are, well, we'll get there in a week or two, maybe 3. They're all, my dad's age, and like, we can work or we don't have to, whatever. So I started my firm in 2016-ish, and went through its struggles like any new business, and worked hard at getting things going. And when we were able to support things that we believed in, and heck, the whole reason why I have that business is from fishing. We decided that, if it wasn't for that platform, then I wouldn't have my business. I wouldn't be where I am today, for sure. There's no way. The path was altered greatly by the network of mackerel fishing for whatever reason. But the business morphed into doing residential and commercial site plans, stormwater, all utilities, erosion control, state, federal, local permitting, and it kind of moved into more of a avenue where we could develop land. And I have experience in land development and pretty much know the ins and outs of what it takes to take a raw piece of land into sellable lots. And that's what our firm really does, is work with developers. We're not a big firm, but we know what it takes, and we understand the backside of the carrying cost from the developer, the builder. That time is, people joke time's money, but time is really money when you're holding the note and you're staring 8, 10, 12% interest on a commercial note. So our business has really done very well because my employees and what they put forth and what they bring to the table every day. So then we started a building company and a development company, and we built a couple of houses here in Carteret County, probably 15 or 20 a year, something like that. And it's been really good. And I keep going back to it. It comes from the network, the fishing network. That's where it all started.
Yeah, right.
And I'll be glad to help Carson or anybody else that has a question of civil engineering. If they're high schooler thinks they want to be an engineer, that's it brings no more better joy to me than
Sure.
try to help a young person out, direct their path.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because them ducks and deers and all that stuff ain't cheap. And the fishing ain't either. So.
No, you got to work hard, doing something.
Yeah, that's right,
yeah.
man. Well, that's super cool. And AMP is all Athan Michael Parker, right? AMP.
Yep.
That's
and
it.
One thing that my dad left off, how it became excessive. Yeah, he said we all were a part of risk, but those that know me, they know, I'm fishing in 35-mile-an-hour wind blows. I'm a bit excessive. It's just what I am, and I'm amped at all times. My ADHD runs deep,
I got you.
something. So my wife thought it would be kind of funny to throw that in there, and it's worked out. So
yeah, that's good.
And that's awesome that you're willing to give back, and not only to this tournament series and sponsorships, but helping out others and understanding how you got here, right? That it was a network of people to help you get there, and I think we all have stories like that, which is so important to keep us grounded, right?
Absolutely. I mean, we wouldn't, I know for certain I would not be here if it was not for Ned Grady giving me an opportunity to change something, to do something that I had no clue about. I'd never been in the building industry other than pulling wire for my cousins here or there, or landscaping for another cousin, just never been in that industry. And that, afforded me to change the complete trajectory of what I did for a living, that gives me the time and flexibility to be off. And, it's just, I feel it right to try to help someone else with an opportunity, because I was given an opportunity. If it wasn't for that, there's no way I would have started my own business. It's just not possible.
That's awesome. Chad and Athan, anything else you guys want to hit on?
I keep getting texts from my curly headed brother from another mother with his new goats, and I got little pictures popping up with mules or horses, donkeys. He's toting them around in the back of the expedition, and I think he's just got some old cedar straw back there or something. The cows, everybody's riding around. He's talking to animals now. We're gonna carry him and have us a petting zoo at the shootout.
I was going to ask you,
Waverly will love it.
Zone at the next tournament.
Yeah, that's right. So that's what I've been. My phone keeps popping up at the top. David sending pictures of, like I said, mules, buzzards. I don't know what. But Athan, man, I appreciate you, bud.
Yeah, that's a mutual feeling. Everything I know, we all have had our differences in the past, and it all, in my opinion, is all for the greater good of not just the Cape Series, but the camaraderie and our entire industry, if you will. Just, man, we're so passionate. Our group is so passionate about it. It's cool to be a part. I'm just thankful to be here with
absolutely
my team, my family, my teams that we work with. Y'all's group is fantastic.
Yeah. I appreciate
Yeah, absolutely, man. No doubt. And, I know you guys got Yamaha up there on the screen. You guys, big Yamaha supporters, which are, big sponsor of the Shootout and the Classic Series. So, no, you're happy to be back with them this year. And
Yeah, that we want to try something new, and I've fished just about the gamut of boats. I've been very fortunate in that aspect. Like I said, we started out with Sequest, fished on an older contender, a 33 ST, a 27 Century, a 26 Mako, went to a 30T, a 32 ST, had 439 STs, went to a Onslow Bay, a 41, then went to a 28 Freeman, therefore a piece this year, and now in the 38 Freeman. And there's good, bad, right, wrong, pretty, ugly. There's everything. And I was told a long time ago, I think Stacy Wester mentioned it to me in like 2008 or 9. There's no perfect boat. There's not. People know my struggles I've had with the motors and the boat that I recently fished. And others have the same boat, the same power, and have had great opportunities and not had any problems. But there's no perfect boat. There's sacrifices every which way. But we fished that Freeman a couple, 150 hours so far since we've had it, and for the size boat and the 350 Yamahas on the back of it, we've been thoroughly impressed with the performance numbers, the live wells, the fit finish, everything. And again, there's no perfect boat. It's just what you can deal with, and the struggles on on what you're willing to sacrifice. Whether it's a monohull boat, a cat boat. I mean, I don't know. Heck, there's a full boat coming out. All the stuff. Whatever's your cup of tea. I know what ours is moving forward, and it's boats and motors and whatnot.
Darn sure a pretty boat. Every time you pass us as we're rowing our single 300 down the ICW, she looks good. So
I appreciate it.
Everything he's in, I feel like I'm rowing when he comes by me. I don't care.
I like to go fast. Heck, my little 28, we fished it. Finished the south this year and started the north, and I'll tell you that's an impressive little daggone bathtub. That daggone thing's just as wide as it is long.
Yeah, right.
Those new 350s on the back of it, I tell you, those motors are.
Oh man.
Ooh, and sometimes you just have to cut them off and cut them on to make sure they're running, and hear a little beep from that little screen in front of you, just to make sure, just make sure that they're running.
Awesome. Well, Athan, this has been a blast, man. We appreciate you jumping on and chatting with us, and
my pleasure.
We'll have to do this again, and we'll get Dad back on for some more stories.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. We'll have to censor some of the stories, but he did a good job tonight.
Some stuff not made for TV.
No, sir.
I'll corner over the next captain's meeting and get some good ones.
Yeah, we'll huddle around one of the little tables there or something. We'll figure it out.
Heck, I'm just glad he's in the country. He's a world-renowned traveler now.
I mean, they get past fishing season, he decides he's going to stay at home for a month and a half. I'm like,
good for him, buddy.
Listen, I love looking at those pictures on Facebook when he does travel.
Yeah, good for him, Bubba.
He does, and I'll tell you, I'm proud of him and my mother. They raised me and my sister, and back before he retired, they did not have luxuries to go and do, and they're sure making up for lost time that they spent with me and my sister when we were growing up, traveling, traipsing around with cheerleading, football, basketball, baseball, just you name it. So yeah, they're living it up. They're living the dream for sure.
Yeah, good for them, man. Well, thanks, Athan. Appreciate you, man. And,
absolutely.
We'll look forward to chatting with you again.
Thank you, Bubba. Have a good night, pal.
All right.
All right, man.
Man, that was a good discussion. Mr. Dorsey wants to know if the cows are coming on the boat next year.
Yeah, I'm sure they will be. They'll be strapped up there. We're going, So, Mr. Dorsey, we'll have one ready for you. We'll just unload them right there at your dock.
So what, man, we got Christmas coming up here in a couple of weeks. That'll be here before we know it. I saw online Blue Water Candy's got their 12 days of Christmas,
Yep.
with 50% off Roscoe Jigs today, and gonna be posting something new every day here next couple of weeks. So, and Perry's, they got their, I think we talked about it with Josh. Their Let
Yep.
It Snow event.
Yeah,
Um,
3 inches at Blowing Rock on Christmas
is that
Day. I think
is that what
3
it
inches.
is?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the start of the winter we've had already. There's a good
Yeah.
shot of that.
Yeah, Mr. Perry boy, he's pacing.
Yeah.
No, they want it to snow. I mean, they want these things to happen. I mean,
Yeah.
that's like he said before. Yeah, but Perry's, we've got some ladies that have won a lot of nice things this year from Perry's and stuff, and I'm sure they'll be the husbands and them will be up there using theirs plus some.
I'm sure you will be get something for your bride.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, what else you got?
Man,
We've gone,
we're
gone
going
pretty good
to.
today.
Yeah, everything's good, man. I know we've had some questions on the classic for next year, and we'll probably need to hit that here before the first of the year and do some things. I did speak to the Wahooligan guys. I'd love for us to have them on in 2 weeks. That
Sure.
hopefully nothing don't run us away there, and anything the guys want to see or hear and talk about or whatever. But I do know that we did have some classic questions, and that probably be a show on its own, kind of some Q&A and some stuff for next year.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do that, man. I'm looking forward to that, the classic next year, and we
Yep.
got a whole winter ahead of us to go sea bass fishing or do
Yeah, for
whatever we
sure,
can.
man. The Wahoos get some Wahoo. I'm so happy to be in the woods right now, though, and getting back out in the water and the impoundments. I mean, I love my fishing, man, but ain't nothing like being in the woods. I mean, it's just special, and I love this time of year, and so, but that's my go-to, peace and quiet.
Yeah. Yeah. Aaron Medlin said they need a classic down in the South too. So
Yeah, that's one of the things we're going to discuss as well. And if you guys, I have had some people reach out about that again since our last time we talked. If that's something that interests you guys, I mean, I'm all in. If the boats want to do it, we'll do it. I'm gonna leave it at that. And if I don't see why we couldn't have one. But I think it's going to be run along with the shootout. There's just not enough dates to try to get everybody together with there's so many other events going on. It's unfair to a lot of the teams. So we'll run it amongst us, find some boundaries there, and see how it goes. But
awesome.
that's more than likely our plan going forward. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, man. It's like I said, it's a great great format, great design. And Athan hit on the camaraderie a
Yeah.
lot tonight, and I will say, I see Mark Henderson commenting on here. He, when I started fishing in Division 6 down the west coast of Florida, that's what it was all about, right? Captain's meetings were always, Friday nights, and you hung out for,
Yeah.
to 8, 9, 10 o'clock, and that's what it was all about. When I got here, hit the first couple tournaments, I'm like, what in the hell is going on? And then
Yeah.
came to the first shootout captain's meeting, and I think when James and Jenny Malls were up here, it was
Yeah.
like, I'm sorry, the weigh-in, and I was like,
Mhm.
okay, this is a little more like what I'm used to. So
Yeah,
um,
and that's what we're doing. With like I said, with the classic and all, and there's a couple tournaments that started like in Brunswick County this past year, or they were trying to do some things. And what we're looking to do is keep those charities or whatever that those guys were fishing for, and let them be the benefactors of the tournament, the fish sales, and everything. And I just think we got something that could really help everybody. And so that's like I said, that's what kind of we're looking to do this coming year. So, and then you
awesome.
got Jenny and James. I talked to them. They got the fish what you wish stuff going on. They've got a lot of good things going on with their stuff in Florida. I haven't talked to them in a little while, but
Yeah, they just had their Wild West event a couple weeks ago, and
yep.
a good, good turnout for, they're still recovering there on the west coast of Florida, but
Yep.
decent turnout for what they had, and some decent fish caught. So I know those guys will get back, and King of the Beach had a great showing down there. So
Man, they always get a pile, don't they? I mean, they've got that figured out. Where's 300-400 boats?
Yeah, I mean, it's, average 350, 400 boats. I mean, just,
That's
it depends
great.
on weather. I mean, I've been
Yeah,
down there where they've had over 500. So they got a great format, man. The guys at the Old Salt have been doing it a long time.
they have.
It's a huge party for the captain's meeting on
Mm-hmm.
Thursday night. They got bands playing. They got, they make it a big community event too, which is nice. They take over, God, it's probably four baseball fields. Just they have vendors, and
Yeah.
boat companies, and everybody else come down there. And I know when Mark got his first Intrepid, we showed it off down there, and before the event. So it was it's always a good time, man. And it didn't always have boundaries. They've got boundaries now.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the guys got a little crazy when it didn't have boundaries.
Oh, sure. I mean, just like the U.S. Open and everything else. But I mean, that's this show and Moorhead and all these things. That's why we tried to do the classic thing, because this show was and going to Hatters and these big boats. That killed the industry. As far as being the little guy on the single screw, which a lot of us didn't care either way. We'd run it just as far as it let us go. But that's not everybody. And just like the Old Salts, I mean, a guy on a small boat, a skiff, can win that tournament. A guy on a skiff can win the U.S. Open. When you don't have those boundaries in Moorhead, not all the time, but 8 out of 10 times, it's going to be one up the road or crossing that shoal or somewhere. Not that the inlet has not produced some wonderful fish this year, but that kind of keeps some people want to keep their money in their pocket and like, well, I don't know if I can compete with that guy. And once they get that mentality,
yeah, it's hard to break, man. It's but
yeah,
again, you're fishing for a bite. I mean, Athan talked about fishing Hatteras. I mean, we were late in the day. He ran into where we were, and we were fishing the same water, and he said they didn't have a meaningful bite, and we had a 34 or something, and lost a 1 over 40. So you never know when you're going to get that bite. So you just got to capitalize on it. King of the Beach, God, it's been, I can't tell you how many times it's been one off a spot called the Clearwater Hard Bottom, which is a mile and a half out of Clearwater Pass. And 15 foot of water.
Wow.
So anybody can fish that. Like same thing with the Greater Jacksonville tournament down there in Jacksonville, Florida. I mean, I know guys heard stories about guys in a aluminum john boat running right out the inlet, turning off the end of the jetty, putting baits in, and catching a good fish. So, we got animal show today. So, anyway. All right, buddy. Well, man, we appreciate it, and good catching up with you. I'm glad you guys
too,
all had a great Thanksgiving, and we will we'll chat with you guys. We'll chat with you guys soon, right? 2 weeks, and we'll get back to
December 15th. Yep.
Awesome.
Well, thank you, Bubba. Hope everybody has a good night.
You too, man. We'll talk to you. Thanks for everybody for joining us.
Thank you, guys.